I've tried not to think about it for years. What we found out there, what we uncovered, wasn't supposed to exist. I told myself it was a nightmare, that none of it was real. But the dreams haven't stopped. The smell of that place still clings to my skin. The sound of that voice still crawls inside my skull. This isn't a story about ghosts. It's not about demons or curses. It's about what happens when human beings dig too deep into the darkness, and something down there decides to answer back. If you're listening to this, I just need you to remember one thing. When they tell you some places are better left buried, they're not lying. I've been to a lot of forgotten places, but nothing felt quite like that jungle. It was like wading into time itself, humid, overgrown, and ancient, in a way that made you feel small. Every swing of the machete peeled back years of silence. The air pressed down like a weight thick with rot and life all at once. There were 5 of us, me, Louis, Sasha Jonas, and Dr. Ketley. Louis had the map, or what passed for one. He swore there was something buried out there, some old German structure from the end of the war. The rest of us just wanted proof. Or maybe we were chasing the kind of story that makes you famous and ruins you at the same time. We walked for days. Monkeys screamed in the distance, then went silent. That silence always got to me. It meant something else was listening. Around noon on the 3rd day, we reached a clearing. At first, it looked like a hill half swallowed by moss and earth. Then, I saw the hard edges of concrete, the rusted corner of metal, poking out like bone through skin. Louis stopped dead. "There it is," he whispered. When we brushed the moss aside, a faint swastika appeared, melted and warped by time. We didn't speak. No one touched it. I think that was the first moment we all realized this wasn't just an old ruin. It was a secret someone wanted forgotten. The hatch was built into the slope, almost hidden. Louis brushed his hand over the rusted wheel and turned. The door groaned like something waking up. The smell hit us, immediately oil mold metal. And something else underneath, something sweet and rotting. The ladder was slick with condensation. My hands left streaks of red rust as I climbed down. When my boots hit the concrete floor, I felt the temperature drop. No power, no sound, just our breathing. Our flashlights carved thin tunnels of light through the dark. The corridor stretched in both directions, lined with doors like cells. Jonas touched the wall. Reinforced concrete, still solid. He was right. This wasn't a shelter. It was a fortress. In one of the rooms, we found bed frames eaten by rust. Mattresses collapsed into black heaps. Mushrooms had grown where people once slept. One of them still held the outline of a human body. Just a dark impression, left in the foam like someone had been lying there for too long, and then disappeared. Further in, we found a bulletin board with a single photo. 4 German officers standing right here in the same hallway, one of them holding a small child. Sasha whispered, "That's not wartime Germany. That's after." By the time we reached the last door, no one wanted to be the first to open it, but we did. And that's where we found the journal. It was wrapped in brown cloth inside a military trunk, bound shut with a rusted clasp. Sasha forced it open. On the first page, written in blocky German script, it said, "I am Eric Mara, engineer. If these pages are found, know that we were not all willing." We read in silence. At first, it sounded like a confession. Then it became something else. May 1945. He wrote about escaping by submarine, about landing in South America, with a promise A new beginning, a new Reich hidden beneath the jungle. They built the bunker to preserve their future, a self-contained world underground. By late 45, communication with Germany stopped. The officers told everyone the war still raged on, that they had to remain sealed inside. But Mara didn't believe it. He heard laughter in the halls, children's laughter. They'd been born down there, never seeing sunlight. He began to suspect the bunker wasn't a refuge at all, but an experiment. Then came the entry from 1946. He wrote about something called Project Morgenmensch, the man of tomorrow. They were creating a stronger human using chemicals, radiation, and even compounds taken from fungi deep in the jungle. He mentioned screams through the ventilation shafts, voices that didn't sound human anymore. And one night, he wrote, "We were fed the failures." His last entry came in 1947. He described a breach, people mutating the bunker, collapsing into chaos. He tried to escape with 5 others. Something followed them. A man he once knew. Skin-melted eyes, gone jaw, unhinged. The final line read, "If you are reading this, understand, we were not all monsters." When Sasha closed the journal, none of us spoke. The air felt heavier, like the bunker itself was listening. Dr. Ketley was the first to break the silence. "This isn't the full story," he said. "If what he wrote is real, we need to see the rest." Sasha argued, but in the end, we followed him. The stairs to the lower levels were nearly gone, eaten through by rust. We descended one by one. The corridor below was worse walls, warped inward like something had been pressing from the other side. Bullet holes covered the concrete. Rusty shell casings glinted in the beam of my light. Someone had fought here, but against what the air stank of rot and metal. We passed rooms lined with medical restraints, shelves filled with broken equipment. Some of the stains on the floor were too dark to be old. Then I heard it breathing. Wet, labored, like someone drowning slowly just beyond the dark. It was crouched in the corner. At first I thought it was a man. Then it turned. Its skin sagged like melted wax, glistening with thick black fluid that pooled beneath it. Patches of flesh clung to bone, others hung loose and soft. Its uniform had fused into its body. It moved without urgency, dragging one swollen foot behind it. When it breathed, the sound gurgled through liquid. Then it looked at us. Or maybe it just felt us. Because where its eyes should have been, there were only pits. The noise it made was almost human. A low moan that seemed to come from its throat and chest at once. And when it slapped its hand against the wall, I saw what it left behind, a smear of tar-black blood. We ran. Jonas tripped first. The thing reached him before I could blink. It lifted him by the waist, like he weighed nothing. I'll never forget the sound that came next. Bones snapping sharp and fast. Dr. Ketley screamed and tried to fire his flare gun. The light flared once, then went out. The creature's arm, if you can call it that, whipped around him like liquid. Then there was silence. I don't know how long I ran after that. I just remember the sound of it behind me, the slap of wet flesh against concrete following. When I reached the ladder, I climbed until my hands bled. The hatch wouldn't move. It had been sealed from the outside. I screamed for Lewis. No answer. Only the echo of my own voice and that slow, horrible breathing getting closer. There was nowhere left to run, except into the dark. I found a maintenance shaft, barely wide enough to fit. I slid inside, pressing against cold stone, holding my breath. The thing moved into the corridor. I could hear it sniffing wet and heavy, dragging something across the floor. And then I saw it. Light from my fallen flashlight flickered over its chest. A torn patch of cloth still clung to it. A name tag. Mara. My stomach turned cold. It stopped near the hatch and spoke. Not clearly, not fully human. Just 2 words, broken and wet. Mine. Home. I stayed there for hours, days, maybe. Time didn't matter anymore. When I finally heard another voice, it was faint, trembling, and human. Hey, I came back. I'm sorry I left. Are you there, Lewis? Sunlight broke through the hatch. I ran limping, half-blind, every muscle screaming. Lewis reached down, grabbed my arm, pulled me up. The thing hit the underside of the hatch just as we sealed it shut. The sound of that impact still rings in my skull. We didn't speak. We just stood there, both gasping, covered in dirt and blood. He finally whispered, "Where's the others?" "They're gone," I said. That was all I could manage. We left before anyone else arrived. But a few days later, authorities came first, local police, then men in black uniforms with no names. They took everything, the journal, our footage, even the GPS data. Weeks later, Lewis called me. His voice was hollow. They found the bunker, he said. And no bodies, he whispered. No people, no creatures. Just silence on the line after that. And all I could think was they sealed that place once before. But something in there had already learned how to survive. Maybe it's still learning. Maybe it's already out. The officials said there was nothing. No bodies, no evidence. Just an empty bunker swallowed by the earth again. But I know what I saw. I know what followed me out. Sometimes late at night, I still hear it, the slow, wet drag of something moving just beyond the walls. And every time the pipes in my house groan, I remember the way it breathed through the dark. They sealed that place once. But if Eric Mara was right, sealing it won't matter. Because whatever they created down there, it learned. It adapted. And now, it's free. If you ever find yourself deep in the jungle and you see a hill that looks just a little too perfect, turn around, run, and pray you never hear it call your name.